Hey, Terry Roberts, want to kill your next listing appointment and everyone after that? Well, I've got, I think I'm a real numbers person and I'm quite analytical when it comes to market data. So one thing that I've always used is absorption rate, and I want to share that with you. It's something you can add on use. And when you can add the expertise that comes with being able to at least have some predictability about the outcome and days on market for your client, they think you're looking at a crystal ball, but you're not. It's all based on stats that are all there for us to grab and use all the time. So, absorption rate. When someone comes to you and says, hey, how long is it going to take to sell my house? You know, I want to put it on the market for $265, and you know that's a good market price. So they've listened to you. It's in the parameters of what you believe to be a great sales price based on the stats. A lot of people start looking for how long is it going to take my house to sell. So what you're going to see behind me is the numbers you use. The first thing you're going to use is how many units sold. The next thing you're going to use is how many houses were available within the market period you're looking at. In this case, I'm looking at 6 months. So in 6 months, 94 units sold, 257 available. That's a rate of 16 sales a month and 5 months of inventory. Well, let me tell you how people really mess this up. They look at the sold units and the available units, and they define available as what is active on the market today. What you want is what was available in the 6 months period that you're looking at. You're looking at solds for 6 months, so you can't factor in only what's available today. You need to look at the entire market over 6 months. So when you do that, and when you say what was available for sale, well, guess what, guys? That's a whole different number. There's 77 active, but there's expired, there were canceled, and there's things that are pending right now, that are contingent, that are active option. But the other interesting thing that you must include in what was available in the market in the 6 months period you're looking at was the things that were sold. Because if they sold in that 6 months, at some point during that period, they were also available for sale. So some people would look at this number and say, okay, I'm going to use 94 units sold, 77 active. Oh my gosh, my outcome is incredible. This thing is going to sell really, really fast. So back up, take a breath, and realize that your available units were not 77, they're 257. So you simply divide those two numbers, and you end up knowing that 16 units sold per month in the last 6 months. So based on today's inventory of 77 active, it's going to take 5 months for all those properties to sell based on historical market. Because in the next few months, you're going to have expired, you're going to have canceled, you're going to have new listings coming in. So that number isn't, it's going to sell a month. I've got 5 months of inventory, and I can tell you that in our market, they are selling at a rate of 16 homes a month. Okay? So it's a much different perspective than just the putting blinders on and only using active and sold when you look at absorption rate. Another thing that really is important to think about that you may not is timing. So timing on the market changes. Absorption rate is not always the same. If I went back and looked at a 12-month absorption rate, I would be using stats that went from January, when it was selling slowly, to the peak of the summertime and then to the fall. And so I'm averaging all those periods in. So there are times when it makes more sense to look at a shorter window. Maybe you're listing, you're talking to somebody, and it's May and you're getting ready to put the house on the market. So if you use the prior 3 months, which are the slower time of the year, you may find you need to go back and look at May, June, and July in 2019, and that's going to give you an indicator of how houses are going to move in the next 3 months, okay? But in our current marketplace, we've been kind of in a slow period, or this hasn't really been, but it's the slower time of the year than the summertime is. So I previously used 6 months, but if somebody's putting their house on the market on February 1st, the more valid time period to look at is probably the last 3 months. So market timing is something you've got to consider, and you've got to use your market knowledge and expertise to make a decision when you talk to your clients on what period of time you're going to examine for them. So as an example, let me show you, we were looking before at a 6 months market, and we knew that houses were sold at 16 houses a month. We got 5 months of available inventory. What happens if I shorten that window to 3 months? Look how the numbers change. We now have 26 sold a month and 3 months of inventory. Are you seeing the difference? So I shortened the window to a period, the last 3 months from November, December, and January are more predictable to me of what's going to happen in February than when I go back 6 months, because I kind of incorporated the end of the summer in there. And that may or may not be valid. You've got to be the expert. You've got to understand the flow and ebb and flow in the market, the feel in the marketplace. So when you shorten to that 3 month period, you see how much the data changes. Are you telling your clients that houses are selling at 16 a month or at 25 a month? You've got to understand the ebb and flow, the rhythm of the market, and you've got to be in it day to day and understand and measure it. That's why I believe that the most professional real estate agents selling the most amount, killing on listings, are people that get it, that understand the market, and can predict with a fair amount of precision what's going to happen. It's the ones that just use that WAG theory, wild ass guess, to figure out what's going to go on, and perhaps don't understand the market enough, so they're grabbing wrong data, because data can tell you whatever you want it to say, okay? So understand absorption rate, know the numbers, and articulate your value. You need to be able to explain it to them in a way that says, well, there are this many houses available, this many sold, and at that rate in the last whatever period of time, houses are selling at 25 units a month. And there are currently 70 houses on the market, 7,700, whatever it is. That is something your client can understand. And the numbers are valid. You're not kind of making things up. And if you don't understand including everything in the market, you really are going to be overselling the pace of homes in the marketplace. So know your numbers, understand the market, and be able to easily articulate your value. Hope that helps you. Please add absorption rate to your listing toolkit. This is Terry Roberts, Fearless Real Estate. Have a blessed day.